Okay guys, it's almost Halloween. You've waited for the perfect time to carve a pumpkin because now it's going to last through Halloween. So first, after you put your one notch in the top and carve it in the angle so it won't fall through, now what you can do is you look at your pumpkin. Oh, that's a swell looking pumpkin right there. This is pretty cool too because it's already got indentions in it where it laid in the ground. So guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to do this side. Now I use a big long boning knife because it's flexible and I can cut a curve with it, and also it's just about the right distance to go between teeth. Now keep it sharp. You notice I wear a rubber glove here. This is called a gauntlet because it covers my wrist and it has a textured surface because that way I can grip the pumpkin better. So I'm going to use these lines here and I'm going to start out with a scary mouth. Now when I do a scary mouth, I do sharp teeth. Now you can see how well this knife goes through this pumpkin. That's because I keep it sharp. Now, what I tell you, you're not going to believe this, but you want to keep your knife sharp because in a way, a dull knife can be more dangerous than a sharp knife. And here's why. You'll hit a spot and you'll try to force it through the pumpkin, and you'll hit a soft spot and you'll cut through. Now see, if you do it right, you can get out in one piece. Now, what that means is I'll save that for later. Now, so I'm going to come over here and continue cutting my mouth. There you go. Now, I don't draw the faces on mine because I've done it so many times. But what I suggest, if you want to or have to draw it on there, use a red or orange marker. That way, if you don't hit the line exactly, it really won't make a difference. Now if it doesn't pop out, that means I hadn't crossed something somewhere. Let's see. There, it's getting better. There you go. So I'll use these later. So now what I do, because you can't tell if these, is this a tooth or is that part of the mouth? Well actually that's part of the mouth. So I'm going to come in here and I'm just going to go with this other little knife, and notice I have one bottom tooth on one side and two on the other. Well, guess what? This is a monster, so it can look any way you want to. So I'm going to go ahead and continue, just cut right down a little bit beneath there and pop them out because I made that little cut across the front. All right, so that's how it's looking. So now we're going to go up to the top and do the same thing. Now, I'm a little more conscious that I want to have the same number of teeth up top than in the bottom, so I've tried to do a better job of that. Just made that little cut across there and that way it'll pop out. Now I'm going to give you another little tip while I'm cutting. A pumpkin carver's best friend is toothpicks, because if one of these teeth fall out, guess what? I'll just stick it back on with a toothpick, or you'll see I'll use it later for something else. All right, now let me get down in here. You have to just take your time. There you go. All right, and you pop it out that way. So there's a good start on those. So now I've got a good eye right here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go up here. And what I say usually when I do a scary pumpkin, I put the eye up under the eyebrow, but guess what? I'm not going to do it on this one because of the shape it is. I'm going to put it down here on the cheekbone. So Dr. Carvinstein will tell you how to do something and he'll do it the other way. That's so typical. All right, so let me go around here, check the corners. If it doesn't pop out, that means I hadn't cut the corners all the way. And you don't have to try to do it as fast as Dr. Carvinstein. You got to remember, I've been carving for about 65 years, so I've got a head start on you. All right, so there we go. There, that came out. Now, I'm going to do the same thing here that I did on the teeth, see? I'm going to come here just a little bit. I just cut in there about 1/8 of an inch. And then I come in here and carefully cut it down. You don't want to go too deep. You don't want to break your eye off. And you pull it back towards yourself. That's it. Now, here's what you do. You come in here and you take your knife blade and you spin it, and there you've got your eye. It's okay, we're going to go over here and do this other one over here. Let's see what it'll look like. Something similar, but you know, like I said, a monster doesn't have to match side to side. So this time, I'm going to do what I told you and keep the eye up under the eyebrow to make it a scary eye. And again, the best part about making monsters is they don't have to match. All right. Now, you know, you don't have to use a big long knife. They have all kind of cool carving kits. Some that even have electric saws in them that are awfully cool that the kids can use. Or they've got the ones with the serrated blades. This is just the way I learned to do it a long time ago. There you go. There's another good piece. All right, so here you go. You can see the two different kind of eyes. Just about that deep through there. Take your time. Gonna have to sharpen this knife here in a minute. Pop it off. Spin it around. All right, the leg's looking good. Now, here's the most fun part for me. Oh boy, I got all kind of good stuff here. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna cut this off. There's one of my pieces. I'm going to trim a little bit off the back. And here's what I do. I'm going to set it up here like this. I use one of those lines as a guide to start. I'm going to start it right there. Put it right here. Okay, that's where it's going to go. Cut across. You can always make it bigger. So start a little bit smaller than you think you'll need. If not, you can, oh, this is going to be perfect. That's a little bit big, but I'll just do something else. I'll find one that fits better. Oh, this will fit real good. Trim that off. Yeah, that's looking good there, and you don't have to match them side to side. So I'll do this over here maybe. Let's see, what have I got? I like this one. This is a little bit different. Okay, so I kind of set it up there and gauge how it's going to be. Now remember, I'm doing mine really fast. You can do yours as slow as you want to and take your time. Nothing's wrong with drawing your face up there. I've just done it so many times I don't have to. Okay, so there's the first one, and because I have one notch, ta-da, fits right in there. Okay, folks, now I've shown you how to do pumpkin with a big knife that you can cut crazy curves, but I'm going to show you something else. You don't have to be able to cut a curve to cut a cool pumpkin, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to cut a scary pumpkin with just straight lines. Now, I always like to start with mine with the eyes, although I didn't on the other one. So I'm just doing straight lines on this one. Now, again, you don't have to do anything like Dr. Carvinstein does. This is just the way I've learned to do it over the years, and there's a lot of easy things you can learn from this. So, now see, I'm just making straight lines. And come out just like that. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and put the other eye over here, and I'm going to kind of make these symmetrical here, just because I haven't on the other one. That's right. And you can see how sharp my knife is. And that's what a good sharp knife is, your best friend next to a toothpick. Okay. There you go. Now see, look here. There's not a curved line in that, but still it's looking good. And before I go any further, I'm going to go ahead and just a little bit, about the 1/8 of an inch or so. Now, when you clean out your pumpkin, I suggest using a metal ladle like this one right here. Because what that'll do, that'll scrape out the edges just like you're scraping out ice cream. And so you take your knife and you just spin a little bitty hole right there. All right. There you go. All right, and I've got all these neat pieces saved now. What I do is I like to start in the middle under the eye and go to one side or the other. Now for some reason, I guess because I'm right-handed, I always go to the right first. But we're just cutting straight lines, so this is going to be real cool. What I usually do on the bottom tooth is I put the bottom tooth between the two top teeth. Again, though, you can do it any way you want to. See, that one came out real nice. All right, now see how we're going? We're going good. Okay, now here's the other side. We're going to do the same thing, just a straight cut. Now, anybody can do this if you can use a knife, and the thing is, you don't have to use a knife exactly like this, but it just makes it easier because you can have a real nice cut. Now, like I say, there's lots of cool ways for the kids to cut them now that don't require a big sharp knife. When I was a boy, and that was a long time ago, parents were let you use a big sharp knife because I started carving with my dad when I was about 12 using this knife. Now I didn't have a glove back then, which you should, because these are really helpful. They're textured so you can hold the pumpkin. You can't cut yourself. You can stab yourself, so you have to be careful. Okay, whoa, that's good, but here again, is that the corner of the mouth or the tooth? Corner of the mouth, so it's not going to get cleaned off. All right. And to me, I mean, it doesn't matter. You don't have to clean them. I just like to do it that way for mine. Plus, when you put the light inside them, that's really cool. And when talking to lights, I never use a camera. I like to use glow sticks. And because you can use different colors, or they have little tea candles, or they have the little flashers that flash different colors that are so cool. And you come in here. Now I'm going to take just a couple of seconds because that one, and I got to keep my knife sharp, so I will. Now, you can use any kind of sharpener you're familiar with. I just like that one. I've used that for a long time. All right, looking pretty good. Like I say, no need to hurry. I'm just moving along because I want you to see all this while you have the chance. All right. All right, there we go. Now, that's pretty good for just straight stuff. All right, let's see here what we can do for something crazy. Okay, now again, what I like to do is, let me show you. I'll come in here, I'll kind of put this up against a line. So I know that'll be my first line right here. And I can cut it just a little past this one. So I'll go in here, cut that first line, a little bit there. Like I say, if they don't pop out, there you go. That's looking good. All right, we got another good one here. I like this one. See, I like different ones from side to side. I think that's cool. But I've left something off both these I've got to fix for you, and I'll fix it here in just a second. Plus, it'll show you another tip. All right, now, same deal. All right, there we go. That's looking pretty good, but guess what I've forgotten on both of these pumpkins? You gotta have a nose. What am I thinking? Okay, so here's what we'll do. I do this a little bit different because if you notice, I make the knife cuts for the mouth and the nose so close together, there's not much meat left to cut a nose hole out of. So what I do is I get my trusty friend, the toothpick, and I take it and I break it in half, like this, and I take the broken end and put it in the soft yellow. All right. All right, because we want the sharp end to go into the hard rind. There you go. And now we'll give one over. This guy say, well, wait a minute, where's my nose? So we better get him one too. They can look any way you want to, doesn't matter. As I said, it's your pumpkin, so you can get away with it. Break that toothpick in half. Stick the broken piece in the yellow. Turn around here, big boy. There you go. How to carve a pumpkin with Dr. Carvinstein. Okay, now I've got two scary pumpkins here. And a lot of times I'll do a happy pumpkin that has square teeth and the eyes down on a cheekbone. But since I've got two scary ones, I'm going to do one that's scared of those two. Okay, so what you do here on this one, just kind of pick where you want a face to be. I'm going to do it right here. And I'm going to give him a big mouth with a square tooth, but I'm going to give his mouth really open like he's screaming. Now see, this is why I like that round fishing knife or boning knife, because I can get out to the end of the blade and really turn the corner. Now, if you notice, I'm doing something I tell people not to do, and that's cut back toward myself, but that's what happens when you're the boss. But do be careful cutting back towards yourself, please, okay? All right, now, let's sure he's cut off here. There you go. All right. So see, he's screaming right there already. Now, I've got a big angle on here. If you want to change the angle on that, you can come back and just cut inside like that. And that just gets a little more meat out of the way for your light, see? Okay, we're going to do the same thing here we did on the others. We're going to just, even though there's no corner of the mouth you have to worry about, just going to, and you always pop it out. There you go. And you pop it back towards yourself. That cut on the bottom lets you do that. Okay, so that's looking pretty good. Now, he's got to have a big eye, and he's going to be looking over to one side to see which of these guys is going to get him. So see how I can turn that corner. All right, looking pretty good. So I'm going to do the same thing on this other side here. And you'll see probably it's not going to match the same side and everything, but it'll be close enough. Okay, now he's looking pretty scared there, buddy. So we're going to do the same thing here. We're going to trim under this, just like I showed you. Come in here. Now you have to be careful because you don't want to knock off the rind where you don't want to. So just be careful, but be real careful cutting back towards yourself. Pop it out to the side. Spin it around like that to get the inside of the eye. Okay, I need to trim that in just a little bit. And you'll notice, I don't worry if I have to modify stuff. That's okay. Monsters are forgiving. You can carve them any way you want. All right, so that's a pretty good start right there. But let's fix him right up here. He needs a couple of other things. Of course, we know he's going to need a nose. That looks pretty good. So what we're going to do is, like I told you, we're going to take our toothpick. We're just going to snap it in half. And you put the broken end into the yellow part of the pumpkin because you want the sharp part to penetrate the rind, which is very hard. So there he is, and we can do his ears any way we want. Or we don't even have to give him any, but we will. I can't resist it. I'm the worst. I'm always having to stick something on them. Okay. So we'll give him a reduced size. Well, that's getting tiny. All right. So we'll leave him like that. I'll show you what we'll do. This is fun. We can do this. You can come in with your toothpicks and you can stick them in the top and make it look like his hair is standing on end. So you can do whatever you want to. Use all your little tricks. There you go. Let me move him over here so you can see all the guys together. And remember, the fun thing is to just have fun with your kids. This makes memories. You'll have fun. I will tell you, this is a perfect time. You're only 3 or 4 days before Halloween. They're not going to last a long time. I don't care what they tell you to do. You can try it. I'd try maybe vinegar, water soak, but I never do anything but put them in the shade, keep them off Granny's antique table, put them out in the yard or something. And remember, happy Halloween from Dr. Carvinstein. You have fun carving a pumpkin.